Morning on the edge of the city. It's so damn hot and my neck is feeling gritty. Gotta find something to do. Cause if I don't pretty soon, I think I'll go Lulu.
Kia ora koutou whānau, welcome to episode 1 of Natives Be Woke. Tai hoa e hoa.
Tai hoa he hoa.
He hoa.
Natives Be Woke.
Kia ora, ko Lou tōku ingoa, ko Kariwai Te Maunga, ko Whaingaroa Te Oa Awa, ko Tainui Te Waka. My name's Lou.
Ko uru ao, ko ara te uru, rawa ko takitimu ka waka. Ko Vicki aho. I'm Vicki.
Kia ora. I'm going to say good evening. Halawhi Diana. My name's Irene Karongo Handleby. I am Solomon Island, New Zealand, from North Malaita, Takwa, Lau, Bailalea, and kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora. So why are we doing it? Welcome to our show. Hope you enjoy it. So during this episode, we will be talking about lots of stuff that interests us. And
maybe you.
And maybe you. That would be really cool.
Maybe about you too.
Yeah, hopefully.
True.
And if you want
Don't worry.
If you want to talk to us, just comment on our Facebook and Insta. Email. And
Stop us on the street.
Yeah.
Why not?
Tai hoa.
It's one of those.
Enjoy the show.
Ka mihi nui ki Suffrage 125, the Ministry of Culture and Heritage, for funding this Natives Be Woke. Tai hoa e hoa.
Tai hoa e hoa.
Just wait a minute.
Tai hoa e hoa.
Yeah.
Natives Be Woke.
What are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing it? Because it's fun and it needs to be done.
Yeah.
We need to woke some people.
Yeah. And because natives need to be woke.
Woke up.
Thought it'd be good for us to talk about Mrs. Paeroa Wineera, this amazing Pūoro player woman. Since we've been talking about...
What's Pūoro?
Oh yeah, Pūoro is one of the most beautiful Māori instruments in my mind. I love them all, but I particularly like these ones because they're pocket-sized flutes that you can... Generally pocket-sized flutes.
Nose flute?
That often termed as nose flutes. That's a conversation too.
Yeah.
But...
Because it's quite a stereotype, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I'm still... I'm new to all of learning about Taoka Puoro, really. I have learnt a lot,
Yeah.
but there's still many, many things that I don't yet know because I haven't been talking with people that have been learning about them for many, many, many years or writing about them for many, many years. So while I have seen a number of them, I'm still not sure about the context of nose flute.
Because I've learnt to play a woodwind.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you would choose to blow with your nose when your mouth breath is so much stronger.
Wairua.
And you can sing at the same time. So you can blow
and there are
sing.
definitely there is definitely talk about nose playing in many different ways, but I'm still learning about how long it's been done for,
Right.
whether it's still something that people are
Because you can sing into a
do,
flute too. You can,
So that's why I want to
Words.
talk about her.
Ah.
So Mrs. Paeroa Wineera was one of the really early, when I say early, one of the first people to be recorded. Actually, one of the existing recordings, I should say, that does exist at the moment of older styles of playing Pūoro. She was born in 1882, and she passed away in 1973. I think 1973. Pretty sure 1973.
You guys were around in 73, weren't you?
But to me, she was
Almost?
No, I was almost born.
In utero.
Yes, I was in utero.
Me
for
too.
sure.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about her, she came into my world this year, and I have her recordings on vinyl, and she literally spoke to me through her music, and I'll say also in dreams, but she's amazing. But one of the reasons that I thought would be cool to talk about her is that she was alive and about during the suffrage era.
Yeah.
But she's this really amazing performer, and I think lots of people don't even know about her. I mean, we've heard about Taoka Puoro in more recent years, and lots of people still don't even know about Kuoro or the instruments. I'm just saying the general population.
And it's usually this. Can I say hardly any
it's not very
popular and
female.
Yeah, female performers.
Yeah,
well, I don't know, because the difference between what we see and what actually is happening.
Yeah. I think it's more that
That's
the
right.
ones that we know of
Yeah,
that
not public.
are very famous in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think I've seen one woman, but in any case, she's amazing.
She is.
One of the really cool things about her recordings, and we're going to hear, is that she actually vocalised her singing and her playing. So if you listen really carefully, you can go back, you can rewind this little vlog that we have, you can hear the vocalisations of the words that she would sing. So in the recordings, she often tells the story of what the song is about. Then she sings the tune or the melody with the vocalisation of the words, and then you hear her play her kawawa as well. But in that playing, you can hear the vocalisation if you listen carefully enough, which I think is just absolutely stunning, and is something that some more modern Taoka Puoro researchers, players, performers, makers have discussed whether that's something that needs to be looked back at as that style, because the more popular style is playing the notes but not necessarily the vocalising of the words. But of course, you know, for lots of cultures, the vocalisations are inherent in the music, right? So it's the intent of the music, or the I'll tell you a little secret about my people's. So with our
Drop us
flute
with some wisdom.
with our flute playing, with our sacred flute playing, what would happen is that if we would have sacred songs that would have sacred text, if you wanted to hide the text or the meaning, you could hum the song. If it was too potent, you could play the flute or play panpipes or flute. So you would have the song with the intention but without sharing the meanings to those that perhaps could
just the
damage
tune, not the
so
lyrics.
it was a way to protect the information held within the song.
So to
protect the performer and the listener?
Yeah, and also to keep sacred the knowledge, so that it wasn't just going out willy-nilly to anyone.
Yeah.
You and potentially that information was, I mean, we're talking about genealogies, information about land, that kind of stuff, all the really potent stories.
Smart.
That's quite smart.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that goes, oh, you know, when I hear instrumental music, for me, it's not about, you know, lots of people really like lyrics, but I really love instrumental music because there's the intent and there's this you're 100% focused on the feeling of it rather than just the words, if that makes sense. So that's why I really love her particular performances of Pūoro.
When was this recording made?
That's a really good question.
Because we were looking at, because the person who recorded it, Dr. Burrows?
Barrow, yeah, Dr. Barrow.
In Canterbury, also wrote a book, Traditional Music of the Māori. So the vinyl recording, which is on Viking, says it's
1967.
But that might not necessarily... It might be a year or two out, depending
Yeah,
on when they did the
and
recording.
also the other thing about it is my vinyl pressing, I think it is 1967. Now, if we go back to so I first heard about this particular record in a book by Brian Flintoff on Taoka Puoro, and in it he says, and we've highlighted the paragraph so you can see for yourself, only a handful of old recordings were made, this is of Taoka Puoro, mostly on wax cylinders. The only known later recordings were of Mrs. Paeroa Wineera, and a few items from this treasure are available on CD or vinyl, traditional music of the Māori. So one of my questions is, how early did she start recording? Are some of those wax cylinders potentially of her? What we do know, and she says it herself on the record, is that her father was a very, very famous player, and he taught many people. And she was one of the... she says herself that lots of people just gave up. Lots of kids gave up. They didn't keep going with
Just
it, but
like
she did.
piano nowadays.
Yeah. So he was very, very well known as a performer.
Actually, that thinking about, you know, piano is quite a modern instrument, but we think of it as being quite old. You know, it's been around for a couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
Are you talking about how the singing through the playing is quite a traditional way of manipulating what this instrument can do sound-wise, and that modern Taoka Puoro practitioners are looking at reviving that technique. But there's also, I think, a place for using an older instrument. A guitar is a really old instrument, but in a really modern way. Yeah. You know, like it's okay, both is okay.
That. I mean, and my people do that a lot. Hybridity, I called it in my work. And it was a bit of like, so what I found in my research of my people was that we would have these really old tunes, but with like electric guitars and keyboards, and or we'd have really old lyrics put to modern tunes, or we'd have really new lyrics using the older tunes. Yeah, so in the churches we've got all these really old pagan tunes that were used by our Taonga, which we call tabu, and they would be our high priests in our Indigenous religion. And those tunes are now used in Catholic churches, Anglican churches.
That's funny.
Yeah, and they've been adapted because they're part of the culture and heritage, right?
Yeah.
So there's this like I don't really like using the word to or by, or
it's just
like this. It's like this. Yeah, it's
absorbing somebody else's traditions.
But actually, the people
to make
did
them
that.
feel more comfortable.
The people did that because as soon as they started translating into their own language, it felt right to use tunes that were theirs.
Yeah.
And so it's
So
about
special.
it's
Yeah.
about continuation of identity in a new way, right?
Totally, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
But we have to remember when we come back to the collaboration episode,
Oh yeah.
further along, then we can talk about instrumentation and modern day music, and whether that is an actual collaboration or is it a
I mean, I guess it depends on
reinvention?
who
I don't know.
chooses,
It depends
right? Who's choosing?
Yeah.
Gee, I look forward to finding out.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, I love
and
talking
when we
about
were
stuff that
back
you
to
go-
Miss Fire,
yeah.
Paeroa, is that this might be a thread going through because we were looking at her daughter Hannah.
Well, we
who's-
think she's her
Yes,
daughter.
sorry.
We're making a lot of assumptions at the moment
Yes,
because
we are.
we know
opera
from
singer.
my very brief
Oh.
research that I've done on Mrs. Wineera
Sorry.
through the
You
library.
know, I've just gone straight back to Vicky Baker. Vicky Baker.
Anyway,
But she
my
sings,
very
she sings a putty putty kani hana e on her.
and I think we're going to actually
Oh.
close the today's session with that,
What putty
aren't we?
putty?
Because it's just so beautiful. And I think like one of the cool things about today's show for all of us, I think, is like highlighting these women that perhaps other people don't know about that have been influential on.
Some extraordinary women.
Yeah,
There are
Yeah.
many.
There are
that's
so
right.
many.
So many.
Gotta
And
list
yeah,
them
I have
all.
to say she's been a highlight
List
for
them
my
all.
year. I really, so I'm glad I could share with all of yous.
It's Or FM now.
Or
Or FM.
Or
105.4.
we love them.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, cheers.
Shout outs to the massives.
I know why we're doing this. Because we be sisters communing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Culture referencing.
Yeah. I have to say, the Sisters Communing, let's go back to that, Sisters Communing exhibition, it was really nice to see
Okay, do you want to just talk about? So that was the exhibition.
at the Hocken, commemorating 125 years of women's suffrage in Aotearoa. It was named on the painting by
Jacqueline Fay. Classic
And
70s.
that painting is from 1974, was it? From memory? Yep. All on board, and the title being Sisters Communing, which I really like that title, I have to say.
I think the whole painting was really, really cool.
It was really vibrant. It really depicted 1970s for me, or at least our idea of the memories of 1970s.
We were around.
We were.
Yeah. We
My
were
world
all
was
around.
a bit different to that, I have to say.
Yeah.
Having a Pasifika mum.
Me too, Māori mum, but still just change
Similar.
the colour of the people in it slightly.
Yeah.
But you know, and I think that's something that I will go back to time and time again during this series, is that colour is so irrelevant. Hey, it's culture.
Totally.
Hey.
Teddy bears all there
Hey,
with
the
me.
teddy bears.
We highlighted
Yeah.
that in the exhibition, right?
Yeah, that's the very familiar teddy bear from the 70s.
Yep. The smoking, the drinking,
The other
the
thing
fireplace.
but we're talking here about a slight difference of culture from, you know, where we grew up with both parents working. These are women who don't work. These
Does
are women
look that way, doesn't it?
These are women who can afford to wear giant rings because they're not going to get bashed
Yeah,
around while they're working.
Definitely not. It didn't have that in my house.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's very familiar.
Yeah.
The orange of the bar heater.
I
Spot
loved the
on.
heater. The heater was like perfect.
Yeah, don't touch it. And that was about all the health and safety that you got back then, eh? Don't touch it. I told you not to touch it.
See, that's what happens when you touch it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the suffrage, and there's quite a few projects happening in Dunedin around suffrage. So we're going to go and visit them and talk about them.
Yes, we are. The unique viewpoint from here too, in the statistics of the that around 1 in 4 New Zealand women signed the suffrage petition that was presented in 1893.
That's quite impressive, eh?
1 in 4, not bad, but it was close to 60%.
In Otipoti.
In South Dunedin, 80% is the two different stats
That
I've
was
read.
the biggest in the country.
Yes, the highest rate in the country. So I asked my dear friend Katie Cooper, who's a history curator at Te Papa, to give me some insight into that, and she's put me onto Dot Page, so a local historian who has been widely published on the subject. So if anyone's interested in following up on actual stats about how Dunedin women represented themselves on that, then Dot Page is the day to look up. And there's an article in the ODT from August that gives some a really terrific overview of that. But what it boils down to is that South Dunedin had a really strong union and movement. Women, a lot who joined the Tailorers' Union, were really on board with the whole suffrage.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
why? What was the motivation for voting?
Representation. It's as simple as that, really, isn't it?
So it was a bit of a tussle, you were saying. Earlier,
Yeah. So
right?
this, I
So
mean,
what-
I've just briefly dipped into some of the writing, but because I'm a visual person and I'm imagining these,
Yeah, me too. I
these
like the story.
characters, because Dunedin is chock full of characters, and the Temperance Union were fully for women getting the vote, but fully against anyone drinking. So, I mean, if you're like Irish Catholic upbringing like me, that's going to be a bit of a, because in our world, women have an opinion and share it, but they also don't mind anyone drinking because that's part of our culture. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I think this isn't a particularly strong Irish community in Dunedin. It's mostly Scots, so maybe it's got something to do with that. And I haven't been able to get anyone to venture an opinion on that, so that's something that I will continue to
Try to
research.
see if we
That's
can find some opinions,
Yeah.
eh?
We might find more information in Toitu. And
I'm looking forward to the Toitu exhibition that is on the cards. When did you say it was going till?
So-
2019, I thought.
2019.
Yeah, we need to go and see it soon.
We're going to go see it for sure. I think
Yeah.
we take the show there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totes. Yeah, and then everyone can come and be work
We all
with
want
us.
to see it, right?
Yes.
Oh, we're allowed? Oh, we'll have to get permissions.
We'll go talk.
'Cause it's
let's
polite.
Let's go and ask
course it is.
them if they would like us to come visit.
Yeah. Because while we're standing here saying that we want people to respect our right to tell our own story, then
Oh, and also,
We
I mean, let's be
reciprocate.
fair here. Like, we're learning as well. It's like we don't know everything. So all of these exhibitions, yes, it's about our responses to those exhibitions and to music, because I'm sure there's going to be music in the mix as well.
Yeah.
But
Two
we're
musicians.
also learning about all of these
Yeah, of
different
course.
stories as well, and that to me is fascinating. I love stories.
yeah, I know. I think
People's
I've
stories.
had some of my beliefs about my own ancestry really challenged. That's,
Yeah,
and that's okay too.
You know, what did you guys think about all the stuff that we saw in there, the paintings, and what stood out for you? What was like?
I have to remember.
So let's also just mention that it was every single painting in there was by a woman artist
And a New Zealander.
and a New Zealander.
So that's a really important thing for me, is that, the Hocken collection is unique in that it carries so many artists that really speak to who we are, in a visual representation of New Zealandness. And this suffrage thing is a New Zealand thing. It's not an us and them Māori Pākehā. It's a New Zealand thing. So even though I'm sitting here saying to my sisters, where's the Indigenous framework? But there has to be a genesis, and the genesis here is that it's a New Zealand thing.
That's
right.
right.
We do say to people from outside our environs, outside our boundary, this is something unique to us. We were first.
And there was representation in there, wasn't there, of New Zealandness?
Yeah,
in that
exhibition.
entire
Yeah.
exhibition.
Yes,
I mean, I was-
totally spoke
yeah,
to it.
yeah,
Yes,
Yep.
in really, really many ways. Like this snapshot of 1970s New Zealand with the brickwork and the carpet and the teddy bear, and Lonnie Hutchinson's patterns that are built on both her Samoan and Ngāi ancestry, and the sisters, one of her sisters' works, that running that full gamut of something that we can all identify, even though it might not be part of our whakapapa per se, it's something that we see and recognise as, that was around me when I grew up.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, that feels like this for me.
Yeah.
Love that.
That triggers nostalgia. That for me.
Yeah. The feelings.
Yeah. I think we were pretty lucky.
What are we doing?
We are looking at the nzhistory.government.nz site. So Women and the Vote, about the suffrage petition. And this is a cool site.
Glasses.
You need your glasses.
I don't have any glasses.
Because see
young.
also the Women's Suffrage Petition from document to database. Oh no, not that one, sorry. The database, here we go, on the site is digital. Where is it? Here we go. So, I'll find the link. We'll post the link. Women in the Vote. So you can search whānau.
Oh, right. So if you kind of
That's
like
so awesome.
Auntie so-and-so, I think
Yeah.
she signed it, so then you can look it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a digitised version.
Hang on,
of
I'm
the
going to
name.
straight there. What about Māori?
I don't know.
That question's been in my head for so long. I'm so glad you asked that.
Because let's look at Mary J. Carpenter, because she's up on the first. What do they say about her? So Mary Jane Carpenter, Nee Griffiths. So I don't know where this rest of this information has come from.
Can you try Hundleby? Just for me
I
to
can.
like. Can we just try? Just.
Okay.
I have no idea.
What's your
Just
street number?
HUNDLE. LE. Not handle. Different country. BY.
Okay, let's search. Oh, so
The Cuzzies.
I don't know where. Let's just see if there's any that come up.
oh, no.
Nada. Oh, shame.
But that's pretty cool.
Maybe they didn't get
My
a
family
chance
were
to.
pretty poor.
Yeah, maybe they didn't get a chance.
They probably weren't around. I'm just trying to think.
So members of the public are encouraged to submit further information via community
There are some
contributions.
missing pages, aren't there?
Oh, are they?
So this is the digital of the main suffrage petition. So there we go. Let's have a look.
Oh, I should have got you to check Moffat.
Okay, let's go. MOFFAT.
MOFFAT.
There we go. I'll
And
capitalise
what's
it for
Faye?
all the people who like grandma.
Well, actually, no. This is my
Two T's
great
to
grandmother's in Clinton.
Ooh.
So I moved back to my hood down here.
Two
Oh,
F's, two
That's pretty
T's.
cool. 2 F's, 1 T actually for
One T?
this family, but
Okay.
2 T's are related. Correct.
Oh look,
Oh,
we've got Jemima. I like Jemima.
Moscow,
They like Jays, don't they?
Mornington,
They do.
and Westport.
Jessie.
There's a Jenny.
Should we have a look at Jenny?
Yeah, let's have a
Jenny
look.
from Mornington, Dunedin.
I don't know if they'll be related, but I assume that. Well, according to the Moffat clan in Scotland, all the Moffats are related,
Of course.
and all the Moffats that came to New Zealand.
Mm.
Like there were two
Yeah.
brothers from my ancestors that moved here.
But then anyone subsequently would be related as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Like with
yeah,
my patriarchal name, patronym,
yeah,
Lenahan,
yeah. Right.
there are a dozen different spellings and pronunciations,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we're all
yeah.
related. We all belong to the same people.
So that's really interesting. This is sheet 319 from Westport.
That's amazing.
So I didn't realise, I thought there was just the Southland and Otago.
So it's
It's-
everything?
Westport
On this site.
on this side, yes.
Well,
Right.
so when you went to see the petition in Wellington,
Yes, I went to Hitohu. It was awesome.
what do
Yeah.
they have?
They had the Southland petition because that was the only one that was still intact, because some of the other versions of the petitions are so worn. Do
They
you know?
suffered.
Too-
They suffered
too-
damage.
Too
Yes.
fragile.
Or suffered damage.
Rat damage?
No, that was the Treaty of Waitangi.
I know, but I just wondered. I mean, because,
Maybe.
lots of places didn't have
And
ways
water.
of conserving or preserving.
Yeah.
Paper. Or they- well, They
didn't
didn't
prioritise
it. Yeah. Look
So,
after it.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool site. So if you want to find any more information about your whānau,
Fascinating.
come here.
That's rad.
nzhistory.govt.nz.
Okay.
Did you put your whānau in?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Hey,
interesting.
can you type in my surname with
Yeah.
the I and the E swapped around? So Line
Line
HAN.
Really?
No.
Yeah, it's a recent misspelling. I'm cool with that.
No.
Nothing. What about the other way around?
Just in case.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
No, NI. No, IE. Sorry.
Go back.
Go back. Yeah.
Go back.
Yep, that's it. Delete.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
No.
Doesn't surprise me.
Okay, back to the
Here
show.
we
We are broadcasting from Ōtepoti, the beautiful sunny Dunedin.
Yeah, Dunedin's a pretty interesting place to be during the 125th celebration of suffrage. It's like a little petri dish of self-congratulation and absence of Indigenous framing.
Yeah. And my thoughts were what does suffrage mean, and I think what it meant for women back then is different to how people see that now and how they celebrate it.
I
don't. It's really interesting because should we wind it back to the originals?
Yeah, what year be that? The originals?
When are you talking?
1890s?
Or are you talking
The
1,000 years ago?
No,
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's be real here.
Okay, I was taking
Hey.
it back to the vote.
I mean, so we come on the island, from the islands, and take a look at us, and we've come from different islands, but there's this interconnectivity of an assumption that we're part of something bigger than us, and that we all play a role in what we call today sustainability, survival, and there isn't this almighty man at the head of a family who makes all the decisions for all of the other belongings. The Roman household model being a man with these chattels, his wife, his children, his servants,
The
his
things.
buildings, the things.
All the
objects.
things.
All the things. In an Oriental was how we were described by the colonisers. The Oriental worldview.
Exotic.
Yeah. Yeah. How funny being exotic in your own land. That we have balance and male-female energy, and any way you want to express yourself, your family is bigger than you, and you all play your part, and your community depends on you being the best that you can at what you do,
And togetherness.
and togetherness. Yeah. So, of course, women have the vote because women are part of the big equation.
Well, let's just go back there, actually. So the vote in itself is representation of what?
I know, and that's what I get that of oppression, and
Colonialism.
So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be me, and that's what I feel. Sometimes the modern take on the suffrage celebration.
These ideas of a particular worldview and ethnocentricity, a capitalist regime coming in, taking all of our stuff, including our right to say who we are on our own terms. And
Yeah.
the Treaty of Waitangi guaranteed us our sovereignty over all of our things, but also all of our non-things.
Yeah.
We signed a piece of paper with good intention, and then all of that was taken away from us. So to come round back to suffrage is really Māori women, and this is very well documented both by Māori writers and by journalists writing about us. And by the way, ladies, stop doing that. It's not your story. Just give the forum to the Māori. You know, it's,
And I
Or just-
mean, it's a
just
really
ask.
good place to just talk about collaboration real quickly as well,
There's a whole
because
episode
there's a
too.
whole another episode that we're definitely going to go into. But the whole idea of, you know, what is true collaboration, and that means letting those voices actually speak for us.
Well, and the
Right.
thing is, you know, how does the person you collaborate benefit?
Yeah.
what's in
yeah,
it for
yeah,
me?
Yeah,
Almost
yeah.
my
No, no.
first question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
And
who
what are you
is
taking?
this for?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, and by
Like,
me,
why
I
are
mean my
you-
people.
Yeah,
not me.
And that's what I mean by who is this for?
Yeah.
You know, is there going to be some give back to those people?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, here we're talking about our histories, right?
yeah.
But you
So-
know, yeah, if you go into a project, you just you need to know where you put your po. You know, am I
Where you
entering
put
this?
your po.
Yeah, where you put your po. Am I entering this project for me and my gain? Then kei te pai, you just need to let people know this is what I want from you.
Yeah.
But if you go in under that, this is a collaborative project,
Yeah.
then you need to give and take
Right.
and produce something
And I
together.
think we really need to, we have discussed this, talking about how that works as artists as well, the whole collaboration thing, and for music and art collaborations of all kinds. Because I think this is time and time again a place where collaborations fall down. Is just different expectations of what a collaboration is. And again, underneath that, the cultural expectations for us as communities where we share, that is an expectation that we're going to be sharing on a different wavelength to often what actually happens.
Let me begin by saying I am a staunch critic of Americanisms being used to describe us. We don't live in America, and we don't need American journalists or cultural commentators telling us who we are. We don't need people who aren't us telling us who we are, full stop, but particularly applying Americanisms to describe our situation. So I will not tolerate being called a woman of colour because I'm not. I'm Māori. And that's an Americanism. Plus, the whole point of intersectionality is to draw out those abscesses of people not being allowed to describe themselves because the dominant culture has decided who they are for them. So, feminism has been seen to be, and I've been quoted as saying it's a white woman's privilege because it evolved within white culture. And we said before, you know,
that's very interesting.
our tupuna didn't discriminate your ability to make decisions based on your gender or your sex. It was, do you have an opinion? What is it?
Yeah, that's
You know?
very interesting.
How about that intersectional feminism exhibition that we kicked
Oh.
off our tour with?
Right.
So, do you want to just talk about a little bit of background to that exhibition?
See, in my culture, there's a definite separation between formal and informal roles. So women would often be the voices underneath the formal announcements. So the men would quite commonly communicate ideas or the things that were important that the families had discussed, but usually it was the woman quietly talking in the background at home,
Sounds familiar, right?
very much influencing decision making and being a part of those conversations. Unfortunately, lots of researchers have come in and identified the male as being the one speaking.
Do you mean anthropologists?
All kinds of researchers in the islands, actually, not just anthropologists, but often anthropologists. And identified the male man as being the formal, and then and then said, oh, they're obviously the big man or the voicer of those. And also, I think potentially because that was what was going on in their cultures.
Well, yeah, because
it's their own experience and their own background, and not actually understanding that there was this whole other world going on underneath. Yeah.
I think, of course, you can only bring your own experience to the situation.
Yes, of course you can. Yeah.
So I think that's with intersectionality in a Dunedin context. It's going to be generated by well-meaning characters who inadvertently bring their own worldview to
That's
it.
right.
And for me, contributing to the conversation is super important, because while the heart of it is something really inclusive, they can't see that they're only being able to see what they can see. You only know what you know. So, I mean, youth and privilege and inexperience mean that one is limited by those things. So for me, it's really important that mana whenua voice is heard by contributing. So I have attempted to facilitate that. But I also know that if people aren't into it, people aren't into it. And there may be, it only takes one reason for someone to say no.
And perhaps people don't understand it.
I didn't understand. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so intersectionality
mean?
means including all sectors of the community. But what if you've got no access to those sectors of the community?
Or what if they don't have access to that, to be part of that?
Yeah.
Can't
find their voice or no mode.
Or they just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that does often happen.
That's right.
Well, I think that's a lot of what we've just been talking about,
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Or you only know what you Googled.
Auntie Google's so useful, though.
It is.
Thank goodness for Google.
But you're able to filter that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
that
right.
takes experience, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you're learning a few more tools being added to your basket.
And so I went to the exhibition and I knew nothing.
Did you learn anything? Did it open your eyes to anything?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or was it just because Mum's standing there going,
No, because I like that. That's weird. But I get what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
and
it's a good
their
start.
positioning.
Yeah.
What was interesting is that particular artwork of the portrait.
Which one?
What was her name? Of the female? No, the big painting. I know, sorry.
There were a
You know what I
lot
mean?
of portraits.
The oil painting by that famous.
Oh, Janet DeWhite's one.
Yes.
Oh,
the portrait of her friend.
Yeah. The portrait. So
can you describe that because we can't go back and take a snapshot of it.
Can't do that.
Yeah, it's just so people know.
It was a
It's out
portrait
there.
of a friend.
Yeah.
Portrait of a friend. But it was her interpretation of the friend, I think.
Interpretation of a Māori woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
With African American ancestry.
That's right. She had shackles around her hands, didn't she?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm going
right.
to guess
That's
that's come from a whaler. I'm guessing that ancestral lines come through.
I think that actually said that on
that makes sense.
the description. I feel like that was part of the description. Or maybe we discussed that at the time.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, for that picture, that painting, it was, again, well, I mean, that happens everywhere, is someone else telling someone else's story.
Yeah, right.
And how much you need to be mindful and careful of those treasures of telling those stories.
Yeah.
Because we're assuming an awful lot about that person.
We're also
about the
assuming a lot about the
painter.
relationship.
Yeah, we don't know for sure that the sitter fully condoned the depiction of her that way. We've got no.
No,
without,
we don't. We're
without
just
that
responding
story.
to the symbolism that we see in that imagery.
That's right.
I mean, for me, the shackles was pretty. Whew, that was told me a whole nother story to the one I think that was, which I think from the description it was about her whakapapa, the portrait from memory was about describing her through this I don't know if it's describing, but yeah, her whakapapa.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
visual arts intentionist describes something.
Yeah.
Whatever you read of it, though, I mean, whether the artist intended or something, or the intention behind the sitting itself, and whatever you bring to it, that it's perfectly legit.
Yeah.
You know, you're the reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything else at that exhibition that you guys...
Do you remember your daughter's reaction to my announcement?
Oh, yes, that was hilarious.
So there's this beautifully rendered watercolour, a panel like a comic strip, telling a wee tale of termination. There were nuns, there were fraught characters, and the only thing that I could see was that every single human depicted in that panel of, maybe 16 frames, everyone was white.
That's right. Just to be clear for all of you, so my daughter is white. With blonde
Yes, very
hair
blonde hair.
and blue eyes. And she's my stepdaughter, but she's my daughter because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
And that's what family means to us in the
that's
islands.
right.
Like, family is family.
Yeah.
And she very much is my daughter. So anyway, hilarious. She's also an artist. She looked at this painting after you said that. She was like, oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know.
Mm.
And it's just different programming, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
But-
different reflection of our experiences in the world, right?
The other thing that immediately followed that observation was that a quick scan of the room, and I think I recognised a good 70 to 80% of the people in the room, and this telling this woeful tale of Catholicism's failings. The two Catholics in the room were us.
I know, Māori and Solomon Island.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm perfectly comfortable
But
with
also with
that.
other
Yeah.
ancestry. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that too. So I've got Scottish, English, Irish ancestry, and you've got
All that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
You name the Northern European.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean,
tribe,
my
yeah.
last name's Hundleby. I mean,
Yeah.
well, actually, that's Viking.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
we've
we've covered the
all
world.
got Viking in
We've
us.
covered the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's reflections of all of that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, but I've also had more than that reinforced my understanding of the reason that my mother taught me to be a certain way is because of who she was, but also the things that she'd been taught.
Yeah.
Same with my dad.
Yeah.
The things that he taught me to do and the ways that he taught me to think are because of the culture that he's from.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his French nana, who I look like, I'm sure that even though she was only 4 foot something, she was a staunch powerhouse, because she was a Celt and Celtic cultures like that. Which reminds me, Halloween.
Oh.
Yes.
Halloween. No.
This was our Halloween show.
It's not Halloween. It's not Halloween.
No.
It's Beltane. It's the spring bonfire, not the autumn bonfire. And it's just so topsy-turvy. It's a $2 plastic, not even a holiday. We're just commodifying our culture because all of us have some reference back to Western Europe somewhere, somehow. We have brought this belief system with us when we've not flipped it over for the opposite side of the world. So here we are going into spring. Spring is Beltane, not Halloween. So, when teenagers who've been on the res who decide to go trick-or-treating knock on my front door, then the first thing they do
You
is
answer your front door?
get
Yeah.
you've got the audacity to come down my front path.
Well, you live in a nice place that,
Where
you
you
live in
get
Dunedin.
trick-or-treaters.
We live in Dunedin, come on. Anyway, it's a $2 commodified thing. It's not, yeah. So, I mean, it's a rant that I will carry on with. So, perfect time to bring up the idea of quantum blood.
Oh.
No matter what colour I am, I'm Māori.
Yeah.
I'm not a little bit Māori. I'm
Part.
not a fraction of Māori. I'm Māori.
Yeah.
I'm Irish.
Yeah.
I'm Cornish,
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
French,
So
I'm,
Yeah.
I think we'll do a whole podcast because I want to talk about Indigenous data sovereignty on that one.
Oh my God.
Yay.
It's
Census ain't woke.
no, it's not. It's not. I mean, you can.
Census is definitely not woke. And the last one I think was like the most unwoke. But anyway.
Tēnā koe, Irene. I feel that way. Especially after a bad night's sleep.
Where's the coffee
Age
trolley?
problems. Coffee? Well, it's one thing I'm grateful to colonialism for.
Yeah.
One out of a billion.
Looks like our time is up. Have to say we're going to wrap this up.
Gonna wrap it up?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Let's say thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
Big thank you. I just
Suffrage.
say thank you in Māori for the listeners.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Ka mihi nui.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, shout out.
Nice. We'd say tagio baita.
I noticed actually there's been a proliferation since Translate on Google has come around that people have started to say thank you with the
Different expressions.
verb.
Ah.
And it's just, I'm not saying it's not right because I don't speak the language fluently, but I'm finding it quite interesting because it's a,
Right. So
it's another
interesting.
ethnocentricity.
Right,
It's like
right,
where
right,
you can,
right.
You know how in Hawaii you say I love you for everything.
Yeah.
Aloha,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this, I love that, I love you,
yeah.
I love them. I mean, but it's not what it means.
Yeah.
It
No,
doesn't
no,
mean
no,
I
no,
love
no,
you,
no.
them, it, they.
But that's an interesting thing I think we can get onto as well is
Yeah,
actually in the future is potential meanings behind words. I find this a lot in the Solomons as well. So our words get kind of like, we often have multiple meanings for each word, right? So, and that's kind of how our culture goes as well, like our metaphors in our songs, in our music, in our writing.
Idioms.
When I say writing, our storytelling is what I actually mean. There's always multiple messages. And so each word has multiple different ways of being. But often only one is picked out by other cultures and that is used time and time again, so it becomes something else for them, but for us it still has all these underlying other meanings.
I love
so
those nuances, the poetry of it.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you decide. I'm going to put this phrase out there and you decide what it means.
Yeah.
I mean all of the things.
So cheers.
Or
Taoka Puoro.
FM 105.4.
And Women's Suffrage 125 Community Fund.
That's right. And remember to follow us because we're going to be
On the
hitting this
Insta.
on the Insta.
On the Facebook at Natives Be Woke.
Natives be woke.
Natives Be Woke.
We tried.
Hey.
Don't
Hey.
be angry. Don't be sad.
Don't be. We love you.
It's true.
We're just trying to make you woke.
Are you woke yet?
Well, I've got to wake up first.
I gotta go to bed. See ya.
Māori. Join us on the next episode.
Auntie.
You know where to find us. Poor Māori.
Ko Māori.
Rotiana.